Have you ever wondered what lies beneath the surface of those idyllic images of Oceania? The sunny beaches, the crystal clear waters. Well, there's a much deeper, often darker, story to be told. These are the hidden histories of Oceania. Stories of incredible resilience, profound tragedy, and remarkable achievement that had been overlooked for far too long. Let's start with a brutal chapter: European colonization. You may have heard of slavery, but have you heard of blackbirding? This was a terrifying practice where thousands of Pacific Islanders were kidnapped or coerced into forced labor. They were taken from their homes and forced to work in industries like the sugar-cane fields of Queensland, Australia. This wasn't a choice. It was a form of slavery that tore families and communities apart. The descendants of these laborers, known as Australian South Sea Islanders, fought for decades just to be formally recognized by the Australian government, which finally happened in 1994. Their immense contribution to Australia's development was built on a foundation of suffering that the nation was, for a long time, embarrassed to admit. And then there was the invisible enemy. Disease. Contact with Europeans unleashed devastating epidemics: smallpox, measles, influenza illnesses that were common in Europe were catastrophic in the Pacific. On some islands, the population plummeted by as much as 90%. Imagine losing 9 out of every 10 people you know. It's an almost unimaginable loss that reshaped entire societies forever. And when indigenous peoples resisted this colonial takeover, their heroic struggles were often violently suppressed and erased from the official records. But the hidden histories of Oceania aren't just about tragedy. They are also about some of the most incredible human achievements in history. Long before Europeans dared to cross vast oceans, Polynesian navigators were the masters of the Pacific. Using just the stars, the currents, and the flight of birds, they sailed thousands of kilometers in open canoes to discover and settle remote islands like Hawaii, Rapa Nui, and Aotearoa, which you might know as New Zealand. These weren't accidental voyages. They were planned, deliberate expeditions that stand as one of the greatest feats of exploration in human history. And what about Australia? Its history didn't begin in 1788. Aboriginal peoples have lived on the continent for at least 50,000 years. Think about that for a moment. They adapted to some of the harshest environments on Earth, from the arid outback to the tropical north. This is one of the world's oldest living cultures, a story of deep connection to country and incredible resilience that was ignored and suppressed for centuries. The continent's isolation also led to the unique evolution of its mammals, creating a biological world unlike any other. Even the geography of Oceania tells a story. Scholars talk about near Oceania and remote Oceania. Near Oceania includes places like New Guinea and the Solomon Islands, settled as far back as 70,000 years ago. Remote Oceania refers to the more distant islands settled much more recently, around 3,000 years ago, during that great wave of Polynesian expansion. Even in modern times, significant histories get buried. Have you heard of the Bougainville Civil War? It was a brutal conflict over land, resources, and self-determination, centered around the massive Panguna copper mine. The war resulted in a huge number of casualties, yet it remains a footnote in global history. So, how do we uncover these hidden stories? Today, archaeologists and historians are working differently. They're not just digging for artifacts. They are listening. They are blending scientific evidence from the landscape with the rich oral traditions passed down through generations of indigenous peoples. This approach allows us to challenge old colonial assumptions and build a truer, more complete picture of the past. The story of Oceania is complex, filled with both pain and triumph. By bringing these hidden histories to light, we not only honor the people who lived them, but also gain a much deeper understanding of the world we live in today. It's a reminder that history is never just one story, it's a chorus of voices. And it's time we started listening to them all. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this interesting, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join us on our next journey into the stories that shape our world. See you next time.